Turn this on. Okay, it's a little past 6:30 on Tuesday, October 7th. Welcome to this meeting of the Select Board. All the Select Board members are present with one Mary Ann participating via Zoom. Are you there, Mary Ann? Mary Ann?
She's speaking, she just needs to unmute.
Sorry about that. Yes, I'm here. Thanks.
All righty, okay. And also with us tonight is the town manager and the town treasurer tax collector. Let's begin the meeting by doing the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag is in the back. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, item 4 on the agenda. Do any board members have any additional business not on the published agenda that they'd like to take up tonight?
No,
Okay, there being none, does any board member have any conflict with any of the business on tonight's agenda?
no.
Mary Ann, none? Okay. We're gonna begin with a public hearing on the general assistance ordinance. I'm not a general assistance expert by any means, but I would like to start public hearings by explaining what the hearing is for and about. As I understand, Maine law requires each town to amend its general assistance ordinance annually by October to update the state income requirements for assistance and the maximum levels of assistance available. And the law requires the town to conduct a public hearing prior to updating the ordinance, and that's to provide citizens an opportunity to give feedback and ask questions about the proposed changes before they're finalized. So having told you everything I know about it, we will open the public hearing. Does anyone have any comments on this matter? Okay. There being no comments, we'll close the public hearing. Move on to item 6B. Consider accepting the 2025 general assistance ordinance maximums. Would anyone like to make a motion on that?
Move to accept and approve the 2025 General Assistance Ordinance maximums.
Second?
Okay, is there discussion by the board?
Oh, yes.
Did you have something? There's one choice we have to make in item C or appendix C1. Says not all municipalities should adopt these suggested maximums and or no housing maximums be adopted. Now should be analyzed in terms of the overall maximum. That's something that's just gonna.
What page was that on, Lloyd? Of the
8.
Yeah, page 8.
I have a different question. Lloyd and Hazel, we were both here last year. Do you recall doing this last year?
No, I don't.
I do.
I don't.
Yeah, now.
You do?
No, we did.
Okay.
Okay.
It was,
So-
Bryce was here then, correct? Yeah, no, I believe we did, but I could
Okay.
be wrong.
I don't, okay. Then it's on me. I don't recall it. As I was doing some homework, I looked at MMA and it had, in the MMA table that at that time we should have, accept, because of all the changes in the ordinance between 24 and 25, MMA suggested that we adopt the whole ordinance. So
That,
we would have, I think that we would have had to do that in order to change ours and then adopt these maximums on top of the changed ordinance. So if we did that last year, then I have no further concerns.
well, here's what I recall, Mary Ann. I recall what you said is absolutely correct. MMA suggested that you might want to adopt the entire new revised ordinance. But we didn't have to. And my recollection was we didn't. We just adopted the schedules, the new schedules. And this year, I believe the same thing applies. MMA is recommending that you adopt an entirely new ordinance, the new revised ordinance. But you're not required to do that. You can just adopt the schedules. I'm gonna turn this over to Shannon and make sure I said that correctly as you understand it.
Yes, looking on what you had posted online, it looked like you had the 2024 general assistance ordinance adopted.
Mhm.
This year, we're just looking at adopting the maximums for the appendices.
All right, I thank you. I had looked into this and I didn't have time to do, I hadn't given myself time to do all that research, so I didn't recall it at all. Thank you.
Marianne, I don't recall it, but I'm scanning my notes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll let you know if I find any ticklers in here. So carry on. I just don't.
Okay.
One question too, while I debate. Do we want to, does your does your motion include adopting all of the thing as written?
I think the motion is to adopt all these schedules that are appended to the packet today.
That was my motion.
Yes, and on this, exhibit C on page 8, I think what it's saying is we should adopt these values only if we find or believe they're consistent with local rent values. If not, we need to conduct a market survey. Is that how other
That was
people read
how,
that?
that was how I made the assumption
Yeah.
that these are based on the recommended values and the town rent is in
In accord.
some kind of accord, as not wildly different. That was my,
Yes.
Shannon, do you have any- Shannon, do you have any data on these numbers and how they stack up to what's going on in Wayne in terms of rents right now?
I have not done the research on the rental or any of the other appendices as far as what our current statistics look like.
Would not be surprising if we were above on the average for Kennebec County.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Well, these are the maximums. When it asks if municipalities want to establish their
Okay, yeah.
maximums, it would be less than that. But you would then have to
Okay.
provide data to support
Right.
what kind of proposals you're looking at.
Does everybody believe that there's not gonna be a problem then to adopt these schedules?
I believe there's not going to be a problem to adopt these schedules.
Okay. Then the last thing is, it's my understanding that general assistance 100% funded by state dollars.
We do get back, I believe it's 90% of general assistance, so you have to put in an application through the state,
But there's no federal money.
correct?
Okay.
Any other discussion by the board?
No, but the
No.
state ordinance is here if anybody wants to review it with all the specifics that you're talking about.
Is there any public comment on the motion or any of these appendices? Okay, since we have someone participating by Zoom, we'll do a voice vote and let's vote on the motion. Lloyd,
Yes.
Hazel,
yes,
Yes,
Tom, Marianne,
Yes,
Henry, yes. The motion carries 5-0. The next item is to consider the approving the select board meeting minutes for the September 16th, 2025 meeting. Does anybody have any suggested changes to make to the ones published in our packet?
none.
good to me. Do you want me to make a motion?
Sure, let's have a motion.
Sure, move to approve the minutes for September 16th, 2025 select board meeting.
Second,
Okay, any discussion by the board members? We're gonna vote, Lloyd,
I'm,
are you still reading?
I didn't,
Oh, you weren't here,
so
okay.
I could be, I
Hey-
got nothing to say.
Hazel,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Mary Ann?
Yes,
He says yes. The motion carries 4-0 with Lloyd abstaining because he wasn't at the meeting. Consider warrants and donations. Would someone like to make a motion on payroll warrant number 11 in the amount of 11,573.91?
That was the one, Lloyd. I'm sorry, Henry, that I think
Do you want
you chimed in with the question.
Okay, oh,
to, move to approve payroll number 11 in the amount of 11,573.91
and then when we get a second, we'll discuss it, Tom. I'll
second,
second that. Okay. So we've got a motion and a second. So what was the scoop on the two figures that Tom was asking about?
Can you tell me which two figures you're talking about?
Yes, it's on the payroll warrant on the sum. Under the gross pay is 10,396.48 and the total payroll is 11,573.91. And since they're gross numbers, they're not net numbers. What would be what would be the difference?
So when you look at the put into accounts payable, taken out of accounts payable, the 3,620 is the retirement, so ICMA, RC, Internal Revenue Service, so federal taxes, and then the state taxes. What you'll see it under warrant 11 as it adds up to the amount on that page, excuse me, under warrant 13. But I block off all of the deductions and checks, because technically only gross pay should be broadcast to the public. Or maybe, deductions need to be covered.
Oh,
It's- So the only thing is when I did the warrant 11, I covered up the Androscoggin Bank deposit, and it usually has a direct deposit in there. And then the retirement and IRS
so
in state of Maine.
are you telling us that the difference between the two numbers on warrant 11 equals the difference between the two numbers on warrant 13? Just one's a negative and one's a positive.
So
Well-
the difference between the 11,573
Yeah.
and the 10,396, I believe should be the deductions for taxes. But the overall amount of the 3,620 includes the retirement as well.
How about this as a possibility? Because that doesn't make any sense. To me, and it's probably my fault. But taxes that are withheld from an employee's payroll, that's included in their gross pay. But is it possible that the difference between the 10,396 and the 11,573 is the town's contribution to Medicare and FICA? Because I don't see that anywhere. I see payment to the Internal Revenue Service, but no number on the side.
Well, so the Medicare and FICA is included in the Internal Revenue Service, and it's broken down into 3 sections. When you print out, it will print out a check. So if you're looking at warrant number 13, it shows $2,147. That includes Medicare, FICA, and taxes. The ICMA is for the retirement, and then the state of Maine includes both paid family medical leave as well as the state taxes. Deductions.
What is the cause of this? What is the cause of this, the difference between 10,003 and the 11,500?
Yeah, I'm
So-
sorry we're so thick, but I don't understand.
So it's interesting because it says there are 15 checks, but if
Yeah.
you look in the gross pay column, there's only 11 numbers.
Well, it prints off
So
a
the-
check to the Androscoggin Bank, ICMA, Internal Revenue Service, and the treasurer. They are just voided checks.
So those
Okay.
4 checks, the dollars on those 4 checks represent the difference between the 10,000 and the 11,000.
Yeah, is it the town,
396
is it the
today.
town, is it the town paid, is it the town paid labor overhead? That does it get deducted from a bank, but a check isn't written? Are they like direct deposits?
So
Like you have these check numbers that are voided, but there's no amounts to them. Were there zero amounts? Or was it just that the checks weren't used and there was an electronic transfer of funds?
there was an electronic transfer of funds, yes.
Okay, so there are funds that were paid that are associated with check number 9828 through 9831 that are just not reflected in this gross pay column.
Correct.
Is that right?
So they get still printed off, yes, on checks, but they are electronically transferred.
Okay,
For our accounting purposes, they still get printed off onto voided checks.
If those $4 amounts add up to roughly $1,200, then we're good. It's just not showing on this page. It's as if there's a column missing on the right-hand side that has that additional $1,200-ish dollars, right?
I'll have to take a look.
That's the only way I can see how that math works, because these are all different check numbers. If we can go back and forth between 11 to 13, but the check numbers are in the left column and they're not the same check numbers. Right, these are all consecutive. 9817
Well-
to 9847,
What's a whole
I
different?
suspect,
completely different.
Can you read to us the dollar values for the 4 missing values?
I would need to have that printed off.
Yeah.
I have it up at the office.
Well,
I do not have it downstairs.
Is it always this way? We haven't
it's 16.
caught it before.
Yeah, usually.
I've seen it this way before,
Yeah, okay.
and I think I've understood it, but this time I don't.
Yeah,
The answer
I
seemed to
think-
make sense last time.
I think the difference is on those check numbers 9828 to 9831. Is there a reason we don't show those amounts?
No, that's why they're shown under warrant 13, if you go 2 pages over. I just tried to, I take a piece of paper and cover up the ones for the employees.
Well, they're not, same checks aren't shown on warrant 13, because check numbers, like I said, in that left column.
Correct.
So are they separate checks that are written? For those amounts? I don't know why that would be the case.
Okay, yeah.
For those last 4,
Yes.
yes, those are additional checks
Okay,
that are
now
just voided out and electronically transferred.
now I'm figuring
But
it.
for accounting purposes, it still publishes it on here as a check.
What did Rod Sterling say? Submitted for your approval, submitted for your consideration, whatever. I think I got it now. The 94, 90, 98, 44, 45, 46, and 47. Those numbers, does that add up to the 10,809? No, it doesn't.
No, it does not.
No,
Um,
no.
I'll have to take a look at it and come back to you, and I can send you an
Here.
email and explain it.
Yeah,
I just, without getting all of the numbers and looking at everything
well,
at the moment.
people need to be paid, so. I
Well-
suggest I suggest that we move with approving these warrants and have the explanation come to us next time.
That'd be good.
And if there's gonna be, do you, Shannon, do you prepare it or Lynn? Who actually does this sheet?
I do.
You do, okay. So, when there's 2 different numbers like this, can you put a reconciliation down in the bottom? To show us how they, not right now, I'm saying in the future. There should be some reconciliation so we can understand it when we look at it.
Because you can see you put a sticky note or something on top of it, because things are in, right, so that's what the answer is there underneath the sticky note, but we can't lift up and look at it.
Right.
So that's, I guess. Just we're gonna approve something, but numbers don't match, so it's.
Well, I think we're gonna have the same problem with the next
with the
warrant.
next one.
So,
Because
also
it-
doesn't-
it
And the
doesn't
other
add
payroll
up
one.
and it's
oh, the
nothing,
account payable doesn't either?
No, the next
No,
payroll,
the next payroll, yes.
13, yeah.
because
No, it's-
mathematically, I can't do anything to come up with that difference.
And a couple of weeks ago, I know you caught something, so this time I'm paying extra attention to all the numbers. And I said, wait a second, Hazel's gonna catch this.
This is the number that nobody needs to focus.
Okay.
Well, yeah, and what we need to focus on is how much money are we approving leaves the town's bank account? And where it went. And so if 11,573.91 left the town's bank account, that's basically what we're approving with this warrant.
Right.
So when you're doing that reconciliation and clarification, Shannon, this is gross pay, not
Yeah.
net pay.
Correct,
That's correct.
So this is not what they get a check for.
correct,
They get a check for a different amount.
less,
So we're never gonna be able to do the math.
You're absolutely right, because the checks are in this column that's all whited out, the check column, isn't it?
Right.
Yes, all right.
So mathematically, I think your challenge is how can you
You can still. do it.
provide something to us so that we can in good faith and good conscience approve the expenditure and be for the town?
And the answer is gross pay plus payroll overhead, that's a town expense. That's gonna be the difference, I'm sure. And we just need to have that explained in a note. It's gonna be a town payment for Medicare, FICA. If there's a town payment for retirement, I don't know if there is or not, but if there's a town payment for retirement, that would go into that variance also. Okay? We had a motion, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, vote.
Any public comment on this motion?
One there.
Is this the first time this has come up as an issue, or has something changed?
Nothing's changed. I think I think somebody just looked at it closer.
Well, I know.
We've had this discussion, we've had this discussion before. We don't every time, but I know that we've come across this and asked these questions. And for the life of me, I cannot remember what the answers were, but we've had a variance discussion. So this is not the
Yeah.
first time.
Just we need clarity on what that.
Okay, now.
Yeah.
On the payroll warrant. And we don't have a treasurer's certification. So why don't you give us that now? All these items, all these payroll items, do any of them? Are they all okay with none of them overdrafting any accounts?
so currently I would say, looking at the. Probably the Lad Rec Center, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not accounted for. In the Lad Rec Center, but. They are being taken out of that same pay line, the budget.
Okay, so we have five of these checks, if I understand what you're saying, or 5 of the payments, the cost associated with 5 employees come out of the Lad Center account. Is that what, account 200?
Correct,
And according to Trio, our accounting system, is that account overdrawn?
yes,
Okay. Now. On that matter, I understand that there is a variance in opinions between the town's accounting system and the Lad Center as to what that balance is. Is that fair?
yes,
Okay. Now, and we're working on resolving that.
Yeah.
Okay. If the resolution is that Trio is correct, is there a method to correct this under our current appropriations? With the Lad Center Reserve account, the Lad Program Reserve account.
I would give a qualified yes.
Okay,
but I have not looked at that close enough to say a definitive yes,
Okay, looked at what at the amount or,
this particular instance.
okay, the amount in the Lad Center reserve account?
No,
Or,
the amounts that are in this warrant as
okay,
compared to the reserve account.
okay, do you have a number on the amount that we're overdrawn on the Lad Center account?
Well, we're
Not at
talking
this
just-
time.
yeah.
We don't have the expense report with us either.
We also see a donation coming in from them, right?
Well, yes. Well, but at some point, oh, there's a donation here, but it's. The donation that we're accepting tonight is less than the expenditures on the 200 account. Is that fair?
Yes.
The LAD program reserve fund that was established at the last town meeting. That has a balance in it of some $54,000. Is that right?
I'm not sure. I'd have to check.
Okay.
So is that a timing and a cash flow issue that we can resolve in conversation with the rec center?
My personal, everybody, you know, everybody votes whatever they think. I can tell you what I think. My personal opinion is that if there's enough in the LAD's program reserve account that's available to be transferred to cover LAD program expenses to cover these in the event that Trio's right on this, then I would not have any problem approving this. Because as this if we don't get it reconciled pretty soon, we just need to make a transfer out of that reserve account to balance out the Trio expense and revenue report. I believe there is enough in there. I think it's $54,000, but that's just my recollection.
Well, it's certainly accurate as to general scale. And I think
Yes.
we should approve the warrants and move on and recognize that these matters are under study.
I would like to do that, but I think it's important enough to request that we get some further explanation by the next meeting.
Yeah, I would suggest that the treasurer's certificate that's requested in our treasurer's ordinance should point out that there's an overdraft according to Trio of X on account number 200. But there's Y in the reserve account. Is that something that seems unreasonable, Lynn? Is there a reason that you can't do that? There might be.
So, no, I mean, so I can absolutely say
Mhm.
that, you know, whatever it is,
Mhm.
happens to cause an overdraft.
Yes,
But I think to request a blanket statement as far as what a remedy would be might be presumptuous.
Okay.
Because not necessarily, say, you know, down the road, we have to go back and look at what that remedy is. Maybe the remedy at that time, when it was written down.
Yeah.
Was, you know, maybe a little lofty and we should not have gone that direction. So
Oh.
now if we look back at it, we're gonna look at it and we're gonna go, well, you did it before, why don't you do it
Okay.
again?
all I'm
So
asking.
I'm just hesitating on
Okay.
a remedy.
Okay, really what I'm asking is this, I'm asking for figures.
Yep.
According to Trio, the overdraft on account 200 is X.
Mhm.
There currently is reserve account that has a balance of Y. That's something you can tell us, right?
And we're not gonna rename the reserve account to the overdraft protection account.
Yeah,
We're just looking to cover this
Yeah.
while we reconcile.
And I think in this situation, because
Yeah.
you have an account
Yes.
that you could necessarily look at, it does not apply to everything though.
Oh, no, it wouldn't apply to, if there was some overdraft in the future. I mean, well, for example, if this reserve account did not exist, then I think the answer would just be there's an overdraft and,
Right, and therefore there could not be a discussion of a remedy,
Yes.
so.
that's correct. Okay,
So I don't have facts here. I don't know how you know there's an overdraft in the rec center account. But that aside, my question about whether or not this is a cash flow issue, perhaps that conversation with the rec center to make sure there is enough in the account before payrolls come due is potentially one remedy, as opposed to rather punitively taking money out of a reserve account that might have been anticipated for something else.
I think hopefully it will be resolved with some sort of a reconciliation of these accounts where we can find out what the actual amount is.
Mhm.
I don't know that I would call it a cash flow problem.
Well, I don't have facts and
Yeah.
data, so,
Yeah, Yeah.
I don't know what that's based on, but,
There are timing issues that I have been uncovering, so like, if we get the lad rec to bring in their reconciliations, it could be 2 weeks behind, you know, for what we should be accounting for. There are timing issues
Yeah.
there.
so having a
whether or
cushion
not-
in the account might be
It could, yes,
the issue to what I'm calling a cash flow problem.
right.
Because the money
Yeah.
comes in after the money has gone out.
if the town didn't appropriate funds in the budget to make a payment, and there's no other account that can be drawn upon to make the payment, then I believe the payment should not be made. I think that's what kind of the rules say.
Mhm.
And it isn't necessarily a timing issue, but here, I believe we need to approve these warrants because people need to be paid.
Yeah.
I think that my vote will change next time if there isn't a good explanation where I'm convinced that approving this payment doesn't put the taxpayers at risk to fund something that they did not appropriate for in the budget. Is that fair?
Understood.
You have a raised hand online,
Yes,
from Ken Spalding.
Ken, speak, please. We can't hear you.
Ken, you're muted.
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, you're good. Go ahead.
I think one of the issue is that, well, the Ladd Center board believes that its accounting is correct and that there are problems with Trio. And I don't think there's anyone who doesn't think that there are not problems with Trio. So I believe that there are ways that we can show that there have been more deposits into the Ladd Center account than Trio shows.
I agree with Ken 100% that there is a discrepancy between the lad's figures and the town's figures. And I mean, I don't have any reason to say the lad figure was bad. I really don't have any reason to say the town's figure was bad because I haven't gone through that reconciliation in detail. We are working on it now. What I do have to say is I think as a town official, I maybe should be basing my decisions on the town's books. And work to correct those if there's an error in them. But I agree with what Ken said, that there's a discrepancy between the Ladd Center's books and the town's books that we are trying to fix. I think at this point in time, we need to expedite that fixing and we need to finally put it out on the table and consider it in approving our warrants. That's just my opinion. Is there any other public comment before we move on to act on this payroll warrant? Any other board discussion? Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second to approve payroll warrant 11. Let's vote. Henry says yes. Lloyd?
Yes, I say yes.
Hazel, yes?
Tom, yes?
Mary Ann?
Yes.
A motion passes 5-0. Does anyone want to make a motion on approving warrant number 12, accounts payable warrant?
Move to approve the accounts payable number 12 in the amount of $285,670.75.
What do you have to tell us about this one, Shannon?
Is there a second?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. Second,
Second.
what do you have to tell us about this one?
So, along with what you were just saying, the only account that we have on here, for the lab rec operations would be for the Charter Communications. Aside from that, you'll see the Affordable Fire Protection is covering the fire extinguisher inspections at the Lad Rec Center, at the town office and the fire department. And I believe there's one other building, included in that, one of our historical buildings, but for all of the fire extinguisher inspections. And then you'll see there's a duplicate for the Secretary of State for $1,585.35. One of those will be voided. It was a typo, an input twice, so one of those will come off. But for right now, it's still in the warrant.
And the same discussion we had regarding account 200, which is the Ladd Center, we don't need to go through it again, but I would suggest it applies to this one also. Board discussion?
So procedurally, we have the wrong amount in the motion. And I think that, I don't know what the
Well-
easiest way to correct that is.
Here's what I
Shannon is
suggest.
saying we need to reduce the amount by this $1,585.35. We need to do that.
I suggest that we approve the, now this, we have a vendor, when I go to the AP warrant printout, how is it Shannon or Lynn? How can I identify one of these duplicate payments? And then our motion would be modified to say we approve the warrant except for duplicate payment.
You could take out one of the check numbers. There's check 24494 and check 24499.
Okay, I move that we modify the motion or propose that we modify the motion to approve the warrant with the exception of check number, tell us one of them,
Oh, shoot.
24494.
24494.
But
Second,
Second. Oh,
Okay. Vote, Henry says yes.
Yes,
Hazel says yes.
Tom says yes.
Mary Ann?
Mary Ann, yes.
Okay, motion carries 5-0. Anyone want to make a motion on payroll
Sure.
warrant number 13?
Move to approve payroll number 13 in the amount of $10,809.77.
Second, I'll second it. Board member discussion?
Same questions as the previous one, I guess, for me, but we know that we're not gonna be able to get answers right now.
And next time, we have an explanation that reconciles it. Fair?
Yep.
Okay. Let's vote. Henry says yes. Lloyd?
yes, Lloyd
Hey.
says yes.
Hazel?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Mary Ann?
Yes,
Motion carries 5-0. Would someone like to move to accept a donation to the Ladd Recreation Center programs?
Move to accept donations in the amount of $4,095.08 to supplement the existing appropriation for Ladd Recreation Center programs.
Second,
second.
Board discussion? Okay, we'll vote. Henry says yes.
It says yes.
Hazel, yes?
Yes.
Marianne, yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to item number 9, old business, consider approving the draft building committee charge. A charge was proposed, I think, by Shannon. Last meeting, we suggested some markups on it. I know she distributed those markups and they're incorporated in this version that we have before us. Are we ready to act to
I'd
to
like
enable
to,
this
I'd
or?
like to suggest something for consideration.
Yes, ma'am.
So I know we've set the size of the committee at 5. But since this is buildings, I believe we should include a representative from the fire department.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure, think maybe the Lad Rec Center should have somebody because of the significance of this building.
Those would be in addition to the 5 then?
So if they could either take up 2 of the 5 spots, or we could consider whether we want to expand the committee to allow for a little more representation from the community, because that would only leave 3 people from the community, 3 at large. But I think it's pretty significant for both the fire department and the rec center to have their building needs under consideration.
Okay,
So, the ideal size of a committee is 7 plus or minus 2. 5 is 7 minus 2. I think larger committees are much harder to manage. They're much harder. They're not as agile. But we want them to be agile, but well represented.
what do you think about this? It's just for discussion. We can change that first sentence to say, the committee shall consist of 7 members, comma, 1 member appointed by the fire chief, 1 member appointed by the Lad Recreation Center Board, and 5 community members at large selected by the select board, or appointed by the select board. Would that do what you are suggesting, Hazel?
It would do what I'm suggesting.
And then when we go through here on the other, well, we already have the select board will designate 1 member to serve as a non-voting member. I think that could still say this, that could still stay the same.
Yep, agree.
Because that's a non-voting position, and the fire representative and the Lad representative would be voting members.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then we haven't really accounted for the town manager, or somebody to represent the town office. So I don't know what our thoughts are on that.
Okay. And so in addition to the select board designating a member to serve,
So,
the town manager,
well, I didn't know, does the town manager also go as an ex officio, or does the town manager go as a voting
I
member?
I don't
or
think the
does
town manager needs to
need
be a vote. I
participate?
don't think you would need to be, well, what do you think? Let's ask the town manager.
I think I could be available to facilitate any needs of the committee, just as I have done for the Board of Appeals. So if they have any needs to be up on Zoom or public notice or any documentation, I can provide that to them prior to their meeting.
Well, also, as far as buildings go, it seems that you might have some substantive inputs for them during their meetings about what to be done with the buildings or what's going on with the building. For example, the records that you're storing in the brick building in North Wayne. So maybe, would you object to having the town manager on as a non-voting member to come to the meetings?
I think that's fine. There's also the infrastructure committee
Yes.
meeting charge. Will I also be included in that as well?
Well, we're gonna
We
have
haven't
to
got
give you,
there
we're
yet.
gonna have to give you a raise pretty soon.
That's right, there's more demands are meeting.
Oh, wait a minute, I think that comes under any other duties as assigned.
Yeah.
That was my touch of humor for the evening.
I have I have a question. I don't disagree with Hazel at all about the importance of those buildings, but, and the fact that they would have to be considered, on a regular basis with the committee, but I don't understand having to have necessarily a representative from the buildings, as part of the committee. They should be resources, they should be included, perhaps invited, at certain times during the meeting, but I would think that, in the various meetings, the issue of the fire department is not gonna come up each time. Um, So I'm just throwing that out
That's
there.
one of the biggest requests out that I've heard is, we've heard it from other members of the fire department that they think their needs are not met. Came up when they got they talked about the new fire truck and the location of where the fire trucks are. So I think theirs is probably one of the most significant needs.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all. I don't disagree that they should be, a priority in terms of the committee and its charge and its, the time spent on the various needs of our buildings. I was just wondering if, having them a constant member uh, is necessary, but I'm not, wedded to one way or the other. And I think you make a good point. They certainly do need to be listened to.
I guess the fact though that a member representing the fire department would be someone who would be a resource for all the building. You look at the responsibilities, someone with that background and that training could be valuable as you're assessing on an annual basis, according to the committee here, all of the buildings. So they'd be valuable from that perspective, in addition to representing the fire department's needs themselves, right? Because that's one of the key buildings that would be talked about all the time. So they're kind of serving double duty there, which
Well,
might make
that's
it
the direction
valuable.
that's the direction I was thinking we were going in, that they would have very important input into, how you upkeep buildings and, risks to various town assets. So in that case, yes, I guess it would be double duty.
One way to do one possibility is if we made the fire department representative just like the select board representative, a non-voting member, they could provide all the input that the fire department wants to provide for the committee's consideration. And if they don't believe they've got anything to contribute, they just don't go to the meeting. Now, I would say that with them being voting members, but then if that becomes a habit, the meeting might have trouble getting quorums. So I don't want to have a voting member that I say, come if you want. If it's going to be a voting member, it has to be come all the time.
So I've got a suggestion.
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, they need to have a voice, they need to have a seat at the table and not be dependent on somebody else to speak for them, or to not allow them the opportunity to vote as the rest of the committee is deciding their fate. So my suggestion is, let's not pass this today. Let's reach out to the fire department and the rec center and committee and see if they agree before we make it a charge. If they agree, they need representation.
Okay. And I think that's perfectly fine, provided we have a date that's going to happen by and a person assigned who's going to do it. Any ideas on that?
I'll reach out to the fire department and the lab rec center.
Okay, and we can have suggested revisions for the next meeting?
It's a very minimal,
Yeah, yeah.
very minimal
Yeah.
edit.
Was that something you want to incorporate then, or are those revisions, or do you want me to reach out and ask for their insight first?
Reach out and ask for their insight. And then we're going to draft the revision at the next meeting.
Yep, and
Okay,
there's a couple of places you just gotta change like the quorum numbers, the 5 member, because it'll be a 7 member with a quorum of
okay.
4. And so there's like two edits in here.
Okay.
And then the other thing I think you should consider as one of the skills would be planning or project management.
Responsibility,
Excuse me?
you saying responsibilities?
Skills. Bring knowledge
When we
or
talk about-
interest in
Yeah.
construction, historic preservation,
Yeah.
facilities management, community development, and planning.
Okay. Well, wait, are you, anything, can I go to public comments now? Okay.
Does that leave you with an even number of voting members?
No,
Yeah, if, yes, you'd want to say that a quorum is five.
Yeah,
You know, you don't want to have a 4-member quorum.
it sounds like you have an even number of voting members. but-
Well, if you have a 7, you just say quorum is 5 instead of a quorum is a majority of the people there, because then you could have a quorum of 4.
well, if we have 7, if both the fire
Yeah, it would be
The fire
7
department and the rec center say yes,
Yeah.
that would be 7,
Yeah,
and a quorum would be half of 7 plus 1, which would be 4.
but what Paula is suggesting is that if 3 people don't show up at a meeting, you're gonna have ties. Unless you say motion has to be passed by at least 3. Actually, that's what this body does. A motion has to be passed by 3. If 3 of us show up, we have a quorum, but all 3 have to vote yes to pass something. So, we could say you have to have a minimum of, have a majority of the members present, but not less than 3 voting in favor of a motion to pass.
So on the winter council,
Please
we have
cons-
7 members. If we have 4 present, they all have to vote.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm thinking
Yeah.
that we've got that language. That's what I was thinking. I'm
Yeah.
trying to picture there's a policy that actually has that language in it.
Yeah, we could have 4 of us show up easily, but we wouldn't have a tie vote ever because it takes 3 to pass anything.
Right, but we have that language actually.
Yes, ma'am,
written
we
Down
do.
somewhere.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
that's
is.
what I was like, where is that?
No, it is.
So
Yeah.
you're set.
I think that's another reasonable,
Okay, we'll work that out. So there's no tie votes. So this is put off until next week.
time
Agreed?
next time,
Or yes, next meeting.
next meeting.
The infrastructure committee charge. Approving an infrastructure committee charge. Have we had a chance to look at that? Do we have more discussion on it? Where are we at on that one? Board member discussion,
So the-
please.
The only thoughts that I had about either of these is that we don't mention any communication between the budget committee and the planning committees, and I would think that in both of these cases, there should be some note that both of those committees need to be tapped during processes.
I don't know exactly what that means. Could you explain it to me?
That
tap.
is the information that both committees are dealing with are going to impact information that the planning committee is working on and potentially what the budget committee needs to be doing. Now, if all these committees' information, or both of these committees' information come up to us at the select board, and then we coordinate with budget and planning, then perhaps it doesn't need to be brought into the charges. But both of these committees are going to have impacts on what the planning committee is doing and the budget committee. Is that not so?
Yes, ma'am. Maybe it comes up in the first paragraph on the, and it's the same for the building committee and the infrastructure committee. Let's look at the infrastructure committee. The infrastructure committee is established by the select board as a standing technical advisory committee to advise and support the town in the maintenance, improvement, and long-term planning of its essential infrastructure. Do you want to say to advise and support the select board? You're right. It's an advisory committee. It doesn't say in here who
Correct.
they give their advice to.
Hmm.
And so that's one possibility, is that?
I guess that's one possibility, and then we take that information and then work with both the select board and the planning committee as necessary, but for me, it was not clear, so that's why
Yeah.
I wanted to throw it out as a question.
Well, I
Do
think
we
that's a
need to
good point.
clarify?
We say they advise the town, that's kind of hard.
Hmm.
Maybe we need to say they advise the select board, that's fine.
All right.
Yeah, with that modification, I am supportive of this. I would say, the intention in both cases is to have some kind of broad framework for long periods of time, not necessarily to develop budgetary recommendations for any given year.
I think that's what, yes, I think that's what it says. I think that's in here, or that's the deal. Yes, I agree.
That at least it implies that, and given that that's the way it's gonna be. Oh, I don't know if it matters whether the fire department is in it or not. It doesn't matter because we're talking about big decisions and long-term plans, and then those are gonna have to be hashed into particular budget requirements, and that's gonna be a different process.
Well, certainly if their work is balancing fiscal responsibility, there has to be some budgetary input in there. But
Well, you know,
I-
we insist
I
on it
don't think
because
that-
if we don't have the money.
I think on the infrastructure committee, whoever's handling roads is going to say, I think you need to do this to Bessie Road, this to Pond Road, this to Old Winthrop Road. And then the select board is gonna have to figure out in the budget process, which one of those we want to budget for, along with the road commissioner who will give us estimates of what that's gonna cost. I mean, one thing we don't have in here, at least, do we have on the infrastructure committee?
So that,
Roads is a big deal, and what are we saying here about the road commissioner participating?
so it does say, okay, that's a different question.
Yeah.
This does say review and recommend annual budgets on the
Yeah.
infrastructure, so I think
Yeah.
that's taken care of.
Yeah. The charge, a couple meetings ago, as I recall, some of us said, gee, we'd like to have a charge on an infrastructure committee. And then, my recollection is, which is not all that good, is, the town manager suggested, here's the possible charge for an infrastructure committee. And we looked at it and tweaked it and made a couple changes. And it came out in this form. I think what we need to do possibly, if you all agree, is, okay, take another look at these and whatever we have to talk about, does the road commissioner need to be added? Does the budget committee need to be added? Does this have? Let's put it all down on a piece of paper and talk about it all at once so we can finalize a charge. Does that seem fair?
It does, but I think what we want to consider. And unless, like, it's gonna become very bureaucratic to actually say the budget committee has to participate or attend or whatever. And, we're gonna get into how many people does it take to change a light bulb? Because if you have to have a cast of thousands.
Yeah.
Whereas if this is an independent group that provides
Mhm.
budget considerations that we've already said it is advisory and decisions rest with the select board and the town meeting. We've already got the hook into budget, but
Yes, ma'am. Hazel, I'm not disagreeing with you. We may not need the budget committee to be involved. My point is, these were set out for us to take a look at and make comments. Okay, now apparently there were many comments that we have on our minds that haven't been made. So let's take it back off the table, go take a look at it and make all our comments and figure it out at the next meeting. How does that
All
sound?
right, I would like to say, I had read all of these through, but I go back again and it says the committee shall provide regular updates and recommendations to the select board. So
Yeah.
as I was reading this, I had in mind the planning committee and the budget committee, but really, I think that we've clinched it, by saying they're going to provide recommendations to the select board, and so I can rest there.
Well, let's just everybody take a look at it and take it up next week. Does that seem okay? Unless y'all want to
Sure.
move on it tonight, that's fine too. I'm happy to do that.
Well, we can't move on the buildings one,
Yeah.
so I think it's reasonable to do both, because we've already made one slight modification, but frankly, I looked at these, but the value to me has been the conversation.
Okay, no, that's good.
Yeah.
So we'll take this up again next week. New business, consider the town's voting delegate at the Maine Municipal Association Annual Business Meeting. Tell us about this one, Shannon.
So the Maine Municipal Association is holding their annual meeting in Bangor tomorrow and the day after. I will be in attendance. This is basically just to delegate someone on behalf of the town of Wayne to attend that annual meeting and vote on any upcoming matters through their Maine Municipal Association. And I'd be happy to serve if the select board chose for that. And as of right now, the agenda only has minutes on it for the business meeting, but in the case that anything else does come up, I'd be willing to serve and vote on behalf of the town of Wayne.
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Shannon as our delegate to do that. She's got an appointment paper that all five of us or four of us here are gonna have to sign before we leave tonight, because I think the meeting's tomorrow, isn't it?
You gotta take it with you,
Yeah.
going to the.
So
I'll
I'll,
second that.
okay. Board discussion,
Second.
public comment? Let's vote. Henry says yes.
What says yes?
Hazel, yes.
Tom, yes.
Mary Ann?
And yes, and thank you.
Okay, the motion passes 5-0. Okay, discuss appointment in charge for comprehensive plan committee. I sent a memo out and a copy of it is in the packet. Has everybody had a chance to look at that as far as background goes? So then I won't need to
Yes,
for that whole thing?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so that left us with the questions to be considered. One is, does the select board choose to establish and charge a Wayne Comprehensive Committee? I don't think we need a motion on that. That's just a discussion on whether we want to do it. So I'm gonna open that up for board discussion.
no, I think it's a good time to get started, yes.
I think we're pretty clear on this, right? It's in the existing ordinance that is what we
Yeah.
have to do, correct?
Right.
And there was even some clarification, and when you sort of broke it out, you said, it actually says it's exactly what we're supposed to do. The only question I had that I think rolls up here is I had a question about, is it going to be just a growth management program and an update to the existing, which seemed to be an option? Or is it completely redoing?
I think that we have to submit for approval a comprehensive plan that will be approved as meeting all these many criteria that are set forth in the growth management statute for a growth management plan. And I guess to the extent that our existing plan happens to do that and could be updated, then I suppose that would be okay.
Yeah.
I'd be kind of surprised if that turned out to be the situation that we're in. But one thing that I think a committee would want to do is take a look at the requirements of the statute and the requirements that must be met by a new plan, and then take a look at our existing plan and see how those jive, and then move forward from there.
Well, the state approved that one. So that suggests that the state does in fact.
There have been many changes in the law since then,
Yeah.
since 2016. That where
And the planning part of it, or?
I think in the, well, I'm
There's
far
been
from-
changes, but.
I'm far from a planning expert, so I'm not sure the growth management plan versus the comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to me that we have to come up with a plan that meets that satisfies all the parameters set forth in the growth management statute before the state's going to approve it. I think that's the case.
My recollection is that that's true.
Yeah.
That they weigh the plan against those facts,
Yes,
So,
against those statutes.
so in the chat, I flagged it in the proposed charge language.
yes.
In about whether new or an updated, because frankly, I think, do we need to be directive to the people we delegate about how they do this? If they know
No.
if they know they got to take the current dated plan and produce a new one that is in line with the new regulations, surely we leave it up to them to figure out whether they're gonna complete to do a new one or an updated one. Frankly, I don't know that we need to get hung up on the how they do it.
No, and I don't think this charge gets hung up on it. I mean, first off, this committee, it's not an advisory committee. They're charged with actually drafting the plan and conducting public hearings. And that plan, all we're going to do is take their product and submit it to the townspeople for approval at town meeting. So it's not an advisory committee. And I think in the scope of work, we said the committee is responsible for preparing a comprehensive plan, including, and these are just some things that came out of the statute. It's not everything that's in there. It's kind of by sections. And this is all the reason it's double spaced and there's a wide margin on the right is for everybody to make comments on there.
Even in your note that you sent, in Henry.
Yes.
You pointed out that as it describes at the beginning of the comprehensive plan itself, and Lloyd, you were part of it, right?
Yeah.
One of the first things you did was spoke to the state specific to what are they looking for, right? So do they need, in their opinion, if it's 12 years later and all these changes have happened, do they expect it to be a completely new document? What would be the recommendations? I'm sure you had some relatively candid conversations with some folks who said, no, build off your former template. We can help with some guidance on the areas that have changed significantly. Things along those lines, but it looks like, I mean, you spent 3 years doing this, right? So it looks like you guys were pretty comprehensive, putting together the comprehensive plan. It's an amazing document. I still think you would probably start by saying, here's our previous one.
Sure.
What needs to change?
Yeah, true.
I think what Hazel is saying in our charge, if we are selecting qualified people and charging them with the task of doing this job,
Let them do it.
not advising us how to do it, maybe we ought to just let them do
Right,
it.
let them
Let
do
'em
it.
do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean, because this.
And
group
so
looks
whether
like
it's,
they did a great job.
whether it's a rewrite or a whole new concept, whether it's double spaced or single spaced,
Yep.
or the font is Arial or Times Roman, I really don't care. Let's let the committee do that.
That would be my recommendation.
Yeah.
So I think
Yes.
I think, whether they're producing a new comprehensive plan or preparing it, you can tweak those words, whether those are significantly different. I think we would want to add in here something that says, they're producing this thing to recommend to the legislative body before the expiration of the current comprehensive plan, so that we've got a time requirement in there. And then leave it to them to figure out how they're gonna do it. There's a few typos and minor corrections in here, Henry, but I don't think we need to
I think
talk
that,
about what needs to be capitalized. I
did this have,
think we have an ant in here somewhere.
did this have anything about a time frame?
Well, if
Here's
it's
what
I
it
thought
said.
it did.
Therefore, it is necessary for the town to adopt and submit a new revised comprehensive plan for state approval by June 2028. So
Right.
we have that in there.
Eh,
Actually,
thought so.
I think the goal should be trying to get this done by June 2027. And there's the two reasons for saying that. Number one is if if it's not gonna be submitted to the voters until June of 2028, it's probably not gonna be approved by the state in June of 2028. I don't know that that's gonna be the end of the world as long as we have it to them. But also, and don't ask me to go into any detail because I don't have the recall to do that, but there is many new provisions that apply to these plans that went into effect, like, I think maybe August 1st or September 1st. And they may have a substantial effect on our plan. But there is a provision that says, if you get a plan in for approval within 2 years of the time that the state develops implementing regulations for the new law, your plan will be considered under the old criteria. And so we wouldn't want to miss that. And I think we'll be okay. I think even June of 2028 would probably be okay, because I just don't think the state writes regulations in a very timely fashion. So, you're probably not gonna get regulations for another year, and then 2 years after that would be 3 years,
It's a
but
process, but I think it's a statement of facts that we have to have one for
Yes.
state approval by June 2028.
yes,
But my point is, let's put a date for the committee to do their work and not just
Yeah.
default
Right.
to the
To-
state
And he's saying
date.
June-
okay,
He's saying a year earlier.
yeah,
So I would put that right in the preamble on where we're establishing the committee, blah, 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 by pick a date,
do we,
June of 2027.
yeah, do we want periodic updates?
I think
I
so.
wrote this, but I even don't remember what I put in there now. It's been like a week, and that's past my short-term recall.
You suggest you need to start now.
Yeah,
That was pretty clear.
so,
Well, you talk about having to have public hearings. Boy, I thought you had some haters for reports. I guess you don't. Yes, ethics.
okay, this is the first go around on this.
Mhm.
So let's go ahead and think about it and make our markups. And maybe we can exchange them if we have them done without discussion, just so here's something to think about. And pick this up at the next meeting and hopefully adopt a plan. Or charge.
We'll work on this.
Yes, sir.
We'll work on this part of it.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Lloyd, do you have any recollection when it was submitted? Do you, a sense of how long it took to get it back from the state? Were these guys turning around 6 months?
I think it was a matter of 3 or 4 months. It's
Okay.
been a while, but it's been they get a preliminary draft too.
Yeah.
So they get a chance to get a preview. And the plan was widely praised, actually.
I thought it was pretty quick, and if you go on the website, the agency that does this is State Department of Forestry and something. They have a huge chart of all the towns and when they submitted their comprehensive plans and when it was submitted and when it was approved. And you can look at that and get an idea how long it takes.
Henry, again, when is that, or where is that?
Just look
The
up,
DACF website,
what's the
the
acronym? again?
Department DACF,
Yeah.
DACF website.
If you go to the main DACF website and then under the little search box, just search up comprehensive plans.
Yeah.
And it has a wealth of stuff. It has like a multi-hundred-page manual on how to write one. It has a several hundred-page
Plan.
checklist to go through for a self-checklist to make sure you covered all the bases. They have plenty of guidance there.
So we don't need to reproduce that. It's all,
How big was the committee when you did it before?
really 8 or 10 people.
It was, well, the plan says it was the plan says there were gonna be 7, but then when the list has 8 people on it. For the old plan, if you look at it, it's got a list of people. It's got, Lloyd and,
Were they
Lloyd and,
all-
yeah,
were they
Lloyd and
all-
Teresa were the co-chairs.
Were they all current, or did somebody like
I don't know.
step off.
I don't know.
I don't know if you can just count and make assumptions that they all run for the duration.
Need a name into the book here.
I know, it's official.
As I enjoy reminding everyone, it took so long to get from the draft report to the completion that at the time that just before we're gonna set and type and have it up for publication, the town manager noticed that we're already past the deadlines for doing some of the things that were gonna be done. And the real action part of it is, maybe you could show them some of those tables at the end, is the tables which summarize issue by issue, what is gonna
Yeah.
be done about each. So we had
Okay.
to go back and revise those.
Okay, so are we set on this until next meeting?
Yep.
All right, we're gonna go to, public comments. We have, an executive session, but I put that at the end. So you all don't have to sit here and wait for us to come back. You're welcome, when we do go into executive session, you're welcome to wait for the anticlimax that always happens after executive sessions, but at this time, we'll, open up for public comments. Any?
So, Martha Haddad,
Yes, ma'am.
lady property owner, town member, ALIC member, 30 Mile River member. This doesn't have to do with the comprehensive plan, but, and maybe this is the wrong time, but I've just been having a really hard time with the status of Androscoggin Lake, which looks like this compared to.
Yes, it's a good picture.
And I have lots of really lovely
Yes.
colored pictures here and I mean, these were pictures from September.
It's still just like that.
I took pictures today
Yeah,
and it still looks very similar.
yeah.
Today looked like this. This. I'm just, this is, you know, you can't even see a quarter of an inch
Yeah.
into the water.
Yeah.
I'm just really, really worried about the situation and I feel like, you know, 30 Mile and ALIC have been doing a tremendous amount of research and trying to get studies together and grants and whatever, but I would really, this is a big deal. I mean, you know, Androscoggin is like $1 million worth of our taxes, you know, that we put on the roads and everything we want. People that I'm hearing from on the lake are not able to rent their places in August, September, October. So there's revenue issues there. And it's just, this is not an easy fix because I think, you know, we're a little different because the phosphorus that we have is historic. I mean, we had, you know, 70, 100 years of polluted water from the Androscoggin River coming in at flood sun and just leaving this phosphorus. And now, so when we get those 2 inches of rain in a day, you know, we get it from everywhere else and all the other lakes coming down. But I think our biggest issue is that we've already got it. It's already sitting on the bottom waiting, you know, for it to be warm and calm and so I mean, I guess I'd like to just appeal to the town to think about forming a committee or, you know, because I think to mitigate this problem, it's gonna take a huge amount of money. I mean, if the alum thing, which I know.
Yeah.
I
I'm not gonna write it out.
doesn't feel the same way. I mean, there's not a lot of options. But that's one of them and I don't know, I'm sure many of you have heard about alum treatments in various other lakes around here. obviously Androscoggin is a lot bigger and a very different lake. It's shallow, it's long. It's, yeah, it's got a lot going against it for having a $1,000,000, or 2 million alum treatment, because that's probably what it would cost to do it. But I mean, I guess I would just love to see something happen, because I feel like, us property owners are just sitting there going, I don't know, what are we gonna do? Talk to 30 Mile and it's like, oh, we gotta wait for the state stuff to come back. Oh, we gotta wait for this. And I get that, but I think we have to go get more people more involved, more,
That's a very.
yeah, it's a big deal. So
Right.
that's what I
We
was.
we have copies of those?
You can
If
keep
you-
these if you like. I have them on my,
Yeah, that would be good.
this one is particularly good, I thought.
I've seen that one before,
Yeah,
not right now, but I've seen that picture before. and
but
that's
this,
Quite striking.
this one was when, in September, September 9th. It was so bad at my house that 30 Mile brought this little gal, Sarah, down to do some testing, and this was the stuff she was trying to get into the test thing.
I like the.
So who knows about alum?
Been like that.
Can you tell us your name, please?
I'm sorry, my name is William Messer.
Yes, sir.
My wife and I live, at, Davis Point, Island View Drive.
Yeah.
We have, right on the water. I've been, here with my wife for almost 20 years. I'm a degree chemist. My specialty is water treatment. And I was president of ALEC for a number of years, vice president, advisory position now. I was responsible for testing the lake for 17 years until an illness had stopped me from being able to go out over the last 2 years. Hundreds, if not thousands, of testing points, and I know this lake better than probably anyone else does from the chemical and physical characteristics. This is a problem that I had worried about for years, from the standpoint of every time I would get up with our annual ALEC meeting and present the test data, which showed great improvement, a gradual but definite improvement, none of these conditions. I think the last time something like this was in 1991, and I dare say this wasn't anything not like it back then. So, but I saw the conditions where I was able to recognize early signs and concerns. Thank God we had enough of rain and not extended, drought like we've had this year. But we've had this condition now for, I think this is the 4th year in a row. This is by far the most severe. It is, as Martha said, this is going to severely reduce our property values. My wife and I depend on lake rental through Vrbo and Airbnb. And we can't get hardly any rentals now because of it. We have a couple that's come up every year with their small dog, and they're now a 5-year-old child, and we warned them ahead of time. I said, look, this is a situation, and yes, ALEC puts out an advisory, and the town puts out an advisory that based on if the clarity reaches a certain point of degradation, not to go swimming. And if you have a young child that's playing by the water, or a dog that laps this, it is so bad when the wind blows in the right direction, we'll have a layer of foam that's thick. And if a young child were to ingest that, or a dog, there's a good chance he's severely sick, if not dying from it. So this is really, it's really, and what to do about it. I'm still, of course, a member of ALEC. I'm an advisory capacity, I'm not on the board. But, I've talked to Ted Tucci, the president. I talked to Buddy, Cummings, who was president for a number of years, vice president along with me, the two of us kind of spearheaded the club. And, you know, what to do about it, there's no easy answer. And as Martha said, you're probably looking at $1 million, $2 million plus. And if that would work, that is using alum, that's the big question, because our difficult situation is there's 100 years of pollution sitting in the bottom of this lake. Not only phosphorus from the many, many years and tons of phosphorus discharge that the paper mills used to discharge in Androscoggin River. And of course, when, you know, if you're not familiar, when during the floods and the heavy thaw in the mountains, the Androscoggin River back flood into our lake. So all of these contaminants sit there. When the level drops, these contaminants stay at the bottom. The good news is that these paper mills, number one, there's only a couple left on the river. And number two, their discharges are really in compliance. I'll make this short. I know I don't want to carry on. So, I don't want to make this a lecture. The thing is, it's a very, very serious situation. I believe, and ALEC is working on it with 30 Mile, but I think that the town should adopt an advisory committee to work with the situation. I would love to be involved with that committee based on my knowledge and to move things along, because right now the plan is this. 30 Mile is looking to hire a manager to manage the data, okay, which is fine. And that now they're gonna be looking at certain test sites to test the sediment, okay, which there's no question in my mind, they're gonna find the pollutants that have been sitting there for years. Then what to do about it? The thing is to wait for, you know, there should be a sense of urgency here. I'm not saying that ALEC doesn't have it. I'm not saying that 30 Mile doesn't have it. But what we're trying to do is to bring an awareness to the select board here so that you guys know how serious this is. And I believe, I recommend to set up a committee to work in conjunction with the other groups.
Okay, I'm gonna, hold on one second. The select board, our function and our authority is to basically, we're like an executive branch. We're not a legislative branch. We carry out the instructions that we get from the town legislature, which is the town meeting. Now, we have a leadership role to recommend things for town meeting, and to get advisory committees to do such things. But really, your road to action, this is just my opinion, and then we could discuss it. I'm just not a select board edict. This is my opinion. The road to this is to get the town fired up about it. So you get action at town meeting. There has to be money appropriated. You know, we could say, yes, let's have an advisory committee, but they would have to do something other than what ALEC is already doing. So one thing that I would suggest is, yeah, one thing that I would suggest is I would open this up for discussion, maybe next meeting. We're getting kind of short here. But if you all have some ideas about a public forum or maybe a public hearing sometime other than at a regular select board meeting where we have other things to do in this building to get public participation to put out what the problem is and examine it. If you don't get the town fired up, you're not going to get anything out of us, because all we can do is make recommendations to the budget committee, to budget funds. We can recommend things that we think are wise, you know, but ultimately, you should, I would suggest, and we can certainly facilitate this, is if you think that there needs to be some public push on this, over and above the current efforts of ALEC and 30 Mile River, which I think are probably pretty competent advocates for the lake. But if you think something else needs to be done, come and make a suggestion to us about scheduling some hearings or something like that. Also, another option is there is a program that very seldom gets put on, but it is in existence. It's Wayne Presents, which is run, it's kind of in conjunction with the church, but it's not really a church program. It's an informational program. You could probably get something going on through Wayne Presents, and the person to talk to about that is Doug Stevenson.
We did that about, was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago now? And I think that, this sort of business is just
Yeah.
without any precedent. I think even the other famous examples are not this bad. So I think we should have a public hearing, or we don't have to talk about hearings.
Yeah.
But we should have a public event in the next
Forum.
month. Yeah, and we could get a number of people to work on that, yeah.
ma'am.
I'll make it brief.
Yeah.
but With this, I mean, it's the look, even the smell of the water is just appalling to sit out on your deck, and the smell is just can knock you for your, knock the socks off you. But I think as select board members, you need to understand that waterfront properties just on Androscoggin Lake alone contributes over 27% into the taxes collected for the town. That's significant. 27% of your taxpayers live on that lake. Many of them are seasonal people who aren't going to be here. If we have a forum in the, anytime now, most of them have closed up. Most of them have closed up early, pulled their docks, pulled their boats because the lake is disgusting. So, and they can come and have their voices heard or on Zoom, but they can't vote. Some studies, I've been reading a lot about different studies, and there's a lot of studies, some from University of Maine and other places that have said that for every, can change, but for every 3-foot decline in water clarity, shorefront property values decline as much as 10 to 20%. That can be significant to what happens in this town. And just to give you an idea, I'll just finish with this. Maximum clarity of Androscoggin Lake usually is about 18 feet, and they always measure the same spot, the deepest spot. Maximum clarity is usually 18 feet. Average clarity is about 14 feet. But right now, in September, and if we were at 3 feet, that's a huge decline. Could have a significant impact on property values and what the town collects, just saying.
And then we're gonna stop.
No, I'll make it. The taxes on Androscoggin Lake are $1,027,000, which is 27% of the 3.7 million in your budget. If 20% comes out of that figure, that's roughly $100,000. Now, for those residents of Wayne who don't own lakefront property and think they're immune to that, the $200,000 is going to be made up somewhere. And it's going to have to be made up by non-lakefront property owners. So everybody is part of this, not just the lakefront owners.
And would you give me 30 seconds to make one point?
Can you, Mary,
No, we
Henry.
really need to.
I think the last two people, I don't know if Marianne knows the voices.
Oh, okay. Well, we had Mr. Messer and
That's Betsy Clark.
Betsy Clark, Mike Clark. Okay,
Did you get that?
I have an important point that you all should be aware of, okay? Give me 30 seconds.
all right.
We used to, the loon count in the past, 30, previous for 40 loons counted. We do the same, there's a certain science on how to do this. This year was down to 20. The reason being because the loon cannot find the fish. So this is, okay, so I just want to make that point. And then lastly, I'm not saying what ALEC is doing, is wrong, I'm saying to be aware of what we're doing here. Of the town, to be aware, and your recommendations, Henry, are good.
Yeah.
Are good recommendations.
Yeah, and I understand
Thank you.
it's a big problem. And I'm telling you that as much as everybody here might want to solve it, I don't know that there is the capacity here at this table to solve it. There certainly is a capacity to work on it. And one of the things that we can do is we can try to gen up community interest in it. And so
Good.
you all go out and decide what you would like to do as far as having a forum, having a hearing, having whatever you want to call it. We can have audio visuals. We won't do it at a select board meeting, but I think we can set it up in this room and make your presentation and marshal your forces to present your case where it will do some good for you at the town meeting. But even then, it's not Wayne, and Androscoggin is not a Wayne Lake. It is a Wayne Lake, but it's also a Leeds Lake, and it's a Monmouth Lake, I guess it's a Winthrop Lake also, no, just Monmouth?
No, not Monmouth.
Not Monmouth.
Just Leeds and Wayne.
Leeds and Wayne, okay, so,
Just Leeds and Wayne.
okay.
Leeds and Wayne.
Are you taking,
So,
this to the select boards and leads too?
Why doesn't the Wayne Select Board meet with the lead Select Board and help work something out?
We will consider
So this
that,
is-
but
this is
you should
public
consider what
comment.
I'm
Say
saying.
thank you,
yes,
and
we did, yes, and we have to go on with our business now, but thank you, and also, if you have a proposal for a program, let us know and we'll see if we can facilitate.
You have one more raised hand online.
Who is it?
Ken Spalding.
Hey, Ken, what's up?
I just have a question, and that is the recent reassessment of the property values in Wayne take into consideration the problems with Androscoggin Lake and therefore reduce the taxes that the residents there or the landowners there would need to pay, and also reduce the town valuation, which could help with income from other sources or less cost to the town in some ways.
How about show these photographs to the appraiser?
Okay, thank you, Ken. We're gonna move on to our executive sessions.
town manager?
What's the process for asking for a reassessment? Is there a deadline for asking for? Is that a Shannon question? or-
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
Shannon question.
that's a question for our appraisers, but
What's the process to ask for a reassessment?
you mean to,
Lower the property value?
yeah, to.
Meet with the assessor. Meet with the
Yeah.
assessor.
Yeah,
That'll be on October 15th,
50.
Okay,
What's October 15th?
when the assessor will be into the office. If you'd like to schedule an appointment, just call the office and we'll put you down.
Okay, put me down.
okay, item 14, executive session. I'm gonna move that the select board enter executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA section 4056F, confidential records, to deliberate over applications for abatement in cases 2025-003 and in case 2025-004.
second,
Henry says yes.
if Floyd says yes.
Hazel's, we didn't have discussion.
Okay, you're absolutely right. Discussion about going into executive session?
We skipped 2 agenda items.
Which ones did we skip? Oh, board member reports and town manager reports. You're absolutely right. Town manager report.
You've got a motion on the table.
Did it have a second?
You did.
Okay. I suggest we go into executive session and take up the town manager report and board member report afterwards. That will address the skipped items.
Hazel says yes.
Says yes.
Mary Ann?
Ann says yes.
Okay, we have an empty room. We shouldn't have to go anywhere.
We just closed the door.
Yes.